Hi, everybody, and welcome to AQ's Blog and Grill. Really excited today to have a special guest, Bob Lauterborn, on. Bob I've known since 1993, and he is a thought leader in integrated marketing communications and in just about everything to do with communications. So it's going to be a great chat, and thanks for tuning in. How are you, Bob?
Terrific, thank you.
That's good. So
I always say, the Chinese respect two things,
yes,
professors and old people, so I'm 2 for 2.
you've got the market cornered. So actually, let's chat about the book for just a second. What brought the three of you together? There was Don Schultz, who I know, Stanley Tannenbaum, who I've never met, and yourself. So two guys from Northwestern, and you're up there in North Carolina. What brought the three of you together?
Well, that's a fascinating question. I haven't told this story in a long time. IBM was my largest consulting client at the time. They wouldn't listen. They didn't listen until the stock dropped from 160 to 40.
Yes.
But anyway, at the time, IBM was my biggest consulting client, and I was doing stuff for them from Armonk to Singapore. And Northwestern brought in the top 25 executives of IBM for a 3-day extravaganza, training. So they brought me in, and I did 3 or 4 pieces of this, and Phil Kotler did a piece, and Don did 3 or 4 pieces, and Stan did one on creative. And we were like halfway through the second day, and Schultz said, "We got a book here." And he sat down and he outlined it.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the genesis of IMC as we know it today. And I still don't think a lot of companies get it.
They don't.
They call it, but they're really tactical as opposed to strategic.
Right.
That's the huge difference between what people are calling integrated marketing communications and what we meant when we wrote the book.
Right. And you meant it from just the thinking point of view to begin with, the strategy. Let's get that integrated.
And that's what I'm really teaching all over the world now. I'm teaching a thinking process. I have no clue what I have never tweeted. I have no clue how to use social media, but it doesn't matter because it's the thinking process. How you what the internet has actually done is made a lot of the things that we talked about possible. So the thinking process is, this is where our customers or potential customers are going to research whatever it is that we're selling.
Right.
We better be there.
Yes.
We don't make media plans. Our customers make the media plans. And that's also extremely hard to get through to people. Somebody asked me that question, well, how do we fit this into our media plan? And I said, you don't. You don't. Where are your customers going? And that's where you better be. That's who makes your media plan. And, it's frustrating that 20 years later, people still don't get that.
Now, one of the most important parts of this book, and you and I have discussed this over the years, is you dismiss the 4 Ps of marketing. And then you went on to come up with another alliteration.
The fundamental thing that I teach in terms of the thinking process is outside in as opposed to inside out.
Right.
We mostly manage our companies thinking inside out. Our view of the customer is from our shipping dock looking out.
Yes.
And it's a natural instinct. Behind us, there's some machine turning out lots of this product, which we have to get rid of. At least that's the mentality. Well, the 4 Ps are the consummate inside out. The other thing is that I believe that most of our companies are being managed according to theories that are 40, 50, 60 years old, right. And they may not have been true then. Even if it were so in 1960, it's a flawed concept then. Mm-hmm. It is disastrous now. It isn't about product. There may have been a time when you could sell anything you could make. That time is gone. Now you can only make what customers need and want. Now, customers don't know what they need or want. When Steve Jobs died, there was one, all these eulogies and people, there was one person I wanted to hear from, and that's Lee Clow, who was the creative director of the agency that made Apple.
Yep.
And Lee said that Steve's true genius was customer insight, consumer insight. Mm-hmm. He knew what we were going to need before we did.
Right.
And that's true. So it's understanding people and figuring out, trying to get to where it is that they're going to be 5 years from now. The smarter companies have moved product development out of science and technology or engineering or wherever it used to be,
Right.
and put it under marketing, which is where it belongs. But a lot of companies still have not.
Right.
It's not about price. Price is a stalking horse for something else. If you have to compete on price, basically it means you have been a total failure at marketing.
Right.
The objective of positioning, Al Ries and Jack Trout's old concept, is to persuade someone that there's no completely satisfactory substitute for your product or service. Well, you have failed at doing that if you have to compete on price.
Right.
What it really is about is what is the cost to the customer to satisfy those wants and needs that you've developed. Cost to the customer has nothing to do with our
Right.
costs.
Right.
And of course, that's extremely hard for finance-driven companies to get.
Right.
They just, and it's not about place. Place was our code, was their code word, their P word for distribution.
Right.
Well, we've historically set up distribution systems according to our benefit. What kind of a deal can we make with which kind of a distributor? Where can we put our warehouses that they're near our factories or whatever? Us. It isn't about place. It's about convenience to the customer. It's making it so convenient for the customer to buy that they wouldn't do anything else. How convenient can you make it for your customer to buy from you?
Right.
That's the key question. And then, of course, it isn't about promotion, Dr. Dichter and motivational research. That's, again, a completely manipulative kind of a thinking process. It's about communication, dialogue. People want to talk back, and how can you facilitate that? And, of course, that's what the internet makes so easy.
Absolutely.
Relative to what it used to be. So anyway, product, price, place, and promotion, we could repeat it. It's in 168 languages or some such thing. And it's it's 100% wrong, 180 degrees wrong. You got to replace it with the customer wants and needs, the cost to the customer to satisfy those, convenience to buy, and communication. I probably upset lots of universities when I speak there, and I say, whoever taught you that, you tell them they owe you some of your tuition.
Exactly. Your mom and dad should get a refund.
50-year-old theory.
And you and I are still in this big legal battle over the ownership of the unique buying proposition. You tried to hornswoggle.
I'm older than you, so I probably have some sort of a claim there.
You and I both came upon, for good reason, the unique buying proposition, which is really the thing that drives the market economy now. Why would I buy from you? What am I going to get more from you than I'm not going to get from those people?
Or more satisfying from you.
Yeah. As our students are looking forward to careers and having a positive impact here on the third rock from the sun, what advice would you give them about going into the marketing field, into the communications field, into building brands?
Well, it's all the same field. It's all about understanding people and helping them to achieve what it is they want to achieve, to become what it is they would like to become. It's not about peddling stuff.
Right.
One of the glories of marketing, I think, is that, or of even communications sub-branch of it, is that every single day of our lives, we have the opportunity to make someone's life better. How many, can accountants say that? Well, maybe they can, but
no, they can't.
I hope not.
Sure.
Usually they make my life worse, but that's another story.
Yeah. Well, that's great. Well, Bob, I'm looking forward to seeing you later in the month, and I have a gift for you right here. I'll show it to you. I'll preview it. Can you read that?
I am a shift disturber.
And I can't think of anybody better to wear this button than my friend, Professor Bob Lauterborn.
Thank you.
Okay.
I'm highly honored.
Well, thanks for joining us today, and stay well and stay busy.
Always a great pleasure to see you, my friend.
Thank you. Thanks again to Bob Lauterborn. This has been great. Tune in for the next edition of AQ's Blog and Grill. Well, there'll be more fun and we'll share more knowledge.